can go to Calvin Johnson, you can go to Calvin Johnson, or you can go to Calvin Johnson.
Hey, I actually forget his name is Calvin Johnson. I'm so used to calling him Megatron.
Calvin Johnson, or as he's better known, Megatron, is one of the greatest receivers to ever play in the NFL. Although his career was cut short, as a professional, he did some incredible things along the way. For those looking for a comparison to Calvin Johnson today, I would say there isn't one player that embodies everything that he did. But think of someone with Mike Evans' height combined with the physicality of a receiver like Deebo Samuel with DK Metcalf type of speed. That's what Calvin Johnson was. Even when he was young, Calvin had the aspirations and abilities to be a professional athlete. He was 6'4" as a sophomore in high school, but what if I told you Calvin Johnson could have never even stepped on a professional football field? While he was in high school, he did play football for Sandy Creek. By his junior year, he was highly ranked among scouts. He was the best receiver in Georgia, the number 7 wide receiver in the nation, and 37th overall in his class. But he was also incredibly good at baseball. He was a center fielder and was playing so well in high school that the Dodgers offered him a substantial amount of money to skip college and immediately go pro.
And you could have gone pro in baseball. What was the offer that you got, and why did you ultimately turn it down?
I know we got one from the Dodgers offer letter. I don't know why I thought it was Cincinnati, but it might be, I don't know. I was playing baseball all growing up. High school, I started to get pretty good at it. I was hitting really well. Obviously, I was covering the out center field like no other, but baseball got boring because when I started playing football in 7th grade, I was running back, cornerback. When I got to high school, I hit my growth spurt, and they moved me over to receiver. And kind of got good towards the end of that second year, third year, turned it up, and senior year, just kept going.
While the offer was in the millions of dollars, Calvin was more interested in football. His mother and father were very serious about academics and wanted him to get a college education, so despite the offer from the Dodgers, he decided to commit to Georgia Tech and play football while pursuing his education. But just imagine if Calvin decided he loved baseball and went immediately pro. A man of his stature of 6'5" and 240 pounds, with his speed and years of baseball training, he could have been an all-time great player in the MLB. Although Calvin did not express interest in playing baseball, Georgia Tech did want him to be a dual-sport athlete. They offered him in both baseball and football. Calvin and his family decided that it would be better for him just to focus on football in order to have time to still be a student. With all of his focus on football and academics, he was an immediate contributor in his freshman season. He finished with 48 catches for 837 yards and 7 TDs in 12 games. He broke Georgia Tech's freshman record for receiving yards and receptions while being named a freshman All-American, ACC Rookie of the Year, and first-team All-ACC. As a sophomore, he continued to contribute at a high level. He finished with 54 catches for 888 yards and 6 touchdowns. He was a first-team All-American, a semifinalist for the Biletnikoff Award, and first-team All-ACC once again. By the time he reached his junior year, Calvin was in the running for the Heisman Award and the Biletnikoff, and he did not disappoint. He finished with 76 catches for 1,202 yards and 15 touchdowns. All of these numbers led the conference. Those numbers came with a flurry of awards that season, including a unanimous All-American selection, the Biletnikoff and the Paul Warfield Award, and a third straight All-ACC first-team selection. He made his case for being the best player in Georgia Tech history, as he ranks first in career receiving yards with 2,927, second in receptions with 178, and first in receiving touchdowns with 28. By the time the pre-draft mocks came out, he was projected to be the number 1 overall selection in the draft. His combine numbers wowed teams. He measured at 6'5" and 238 pounds, and he ran a 4.35 40-yard dash, which is unheard of for a person of that size. Later that year at the NFL draft, the Detroit Lions selected him with the 2nd overall pick. In his rookie season with Detroit, Johnson played with Roy Williams. Williams is significant here because he was the one who coined the nickname Megatron. This caught on with fans immediately, and it stuck for Johnson's whole career and post-career. Megatron had many incredible moments throughout his NFL career, the most notable being the 329-yard game in 2013 against the Cowboys. He caught 14 passes in that game, but only 1 touchdown. Despite that, this game was one of the most memorable of all time. There was the 2012 season where Megatron led the league in receptions and had an NFL record 1,964 yards, which still stands to this day. While the Lions hardly made the postseason with Megatron, in the 2012 wildcard game against the Saints, he performed tremendously, with 12 catches for 211 yards, breaking the Lions' previous playoff record. He re-signed a massive contract with the Lions in 2012, which was meant to be an 8-year extension. But after only playing 3 more seasons, Megatron retired early, while still in his prime, citing many injuries as the reason for calling it quits after only 9 NFL seasons. This is still one of the bigger what-if stories. If he had played a few more seasons at that high of a level, he more than likely would be talked about more amongst the greatest of all time. In a lot of people's opinions, he is still one of the greatest receivers to ever play that game. He finished with 731 catches, 11,619 yards, and 83 touchdowns in his career in only 9 seasons. His 11,619 yards rank 4th all-time in a player's first 9 seasons in the league. He was a 3-time first-team All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler, is a first-ballot Hall of Famer, a member of the 2010s All-Decade Team, and the best receiver in Lions history. He eclipsed 1,000 yards 7 times and is tied for the most career games with 200 receiving yards with 5. Megatron was one of the most special players I've ever witnessed, and it's a shame that he retired early. Thank you all for watching. Where do you rank Megatron all-time amongst wide receivers? Let me know in the comments below, and like and subscribe for more content like this. And as always, we'll see you in the next one.